All right, we recording.
Well, hey, Miss Fontasha, how are you today?
Hey, darling, I'm doing all right. How you doing?
No complaints, none whatsoever so far.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I could come up with something if I concentrate on it long enough. If I think long enough, talk long enough, and be miserable long enough, allow myself to be miserable long enough, I could come up with some stuff.
Girl, can't
Especially
we?
right now.
Yeah, well, we're not gonna do that. We're
Yeah,
gonna keep it real positive because if
right.
you go looking for trouble, you will find it.
I know every time I went on the trip looking for some, I found plenty. Plenty. Every time.
When you hear plenty,
Every
well,
time.
we're not doing that.
Hmm.
So I don't know what we should talk about today. Last time about the sex for procreation or pleasure. Got that under wraps, so I'm gonna let you choose the topic today.
Oh gosh.
I know. I
Let's
can't think
see.
of something.
Okay, so what about let's talk about single parenting. Dating as a single parent.
Ooh,
Woo, girl.
ooh, mm. You asking me?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's
Well,
talk about our experiences on the road.
okay. Now I know when my kids were younger, say 3 or 4. Now I dated someone and we lived together for 4 years. But after that, I was real selective about the dating because being that if it wasn't going to be serious, I didn't want my kids around them because, I didn't want to be that parent to have 12 uncles. They got 12 new uncles and all of this and all of that. So if it wasn't serious, then no, I didn't bring anyone around them. And probably now that they're grown, I'm out here trying to date a little more. Now the struggle with that is they're not ready for it. Now back then my son really didn't have any he didn't have any suggestions, comments, nothing about it. Now it's like a dead no for him. Because
Really?
yeah, it's a dead no because
Whoa.
he feels like he doesn't want anybody to hurt me or whatever. And I'm like, at 42, soon to be 43, I think I've had enough experience in dating and life to know when situations aren't going to be good, and to move on. And my daughter, she's kind of indifferent. I don't think she probably cares one way or the other, just as long as I get someone that is actually a good person. And so it's kind of hard because you got to think about the person that you're going to bring in to your family. Yes, my kids are grown, but I do have a 3-year-old grandson that I just don't want to expose any and everybody to, as well as my grown children or whatever. And so when you're looking at people, you're trying to see, is this going to work? How would they handle themselves coming into this dynamic? And for me, it's kind of hard for me to look at someone that has younger children because I don't know how I'm going to feel about having to deal with the baby mothers, the ex-wives, whatever the situation may be. I don't know, if I meet someone and he says, oh, they're cool or whatever, then I will probably take a chance on it. But if there's hesitation, when you mention that situation, it's kind of red flags for me because I'm too old to have to deal with the extra drama that comes with dating someone with younger kids. If they're grown, the woman is out the picture. So you don't really have to worry about that so much. But when they're younger, hey, I'm a mom, I'm right there, but I never had that crazy instinct where I'm just, only thing I'm gonna say, don't do nothing to my kids or whatever would be the thing
Right.
that I would put out there. But the whole the extra, what they call it, making up old crap, all this extra stuff. Like I'm too old for that. I'm not able to deal with that, especially if the man isn't strong enough to put a stop to a lot of the foolishness that goes
Hmm.
on in those type of relationships. So that's where I'm at with single parenting and dating. Um, I felt like waiting until I got to this stage where they're grown would be better to kind of do it. Yeah, it kind of put me at a disadvantage. Now I'm out here old trying to get this thing together, but in the long run, I think it was better for them, for the kids. So
Hmm.
I think.
No, I mean, I understand that. Like, I think I was like 27 when I went through my divorce. And so, like, at 27, from 27 to I got married again at 35, I was doing the single parenting thing. And so it's like, I did some dating, and like during that time, it was really, um, I don't know, I just didn't feel comfortable having my kids around various people. You know, like I even had, struggles in a relationship. Like, when you gonna let me meet your kids? Like, I mean, no. It was like a tug of war. And I really had to like kind of assess, okay, is it really worth it? Because I don't know if I'm that much invested in this relationship to the point that, you know, like you, I mean, the likelihood of you staying around, the likelihood of me not losing interest in, or finding some reason, because like, I've said it before, like at that time, my biggest commitment was to not being committed to anything too much at that time, even though, I had, a couple of relationships where, hey, they were monogamous and it's just, whatever, but still, nah, and then the thing about it too is like, it's so scary, when you invest something, you see so many stories, of stepmom, stepdads, baby daddy, baby mama, boyfriend, girlfriend, family members, just even the last 12 months, we've had so many stories where incidents happen with small children, where it's somebody you in a relationship with, that the mom's boyfriend or mom's whatever have done something to the babies, but like that right there, no, and then just like, I don't know, it's really difficult. But the thing that I really don't like about that is when you feel like, oh, I can't have a life because I'm a parent, I'm bound to just being a parent and life stops, and that's a feeling that is very real. It's very real. I'm married, and my husband and I still try to make it a point, like, okay, let's not lose the relationship in the parenting part, because at some point these kids gonna be grown, and then what, you know, and so it's really hard sometimes, if you're not balanced, to kind of just not get lost in the parenting. Um, But my thing is like, what do you, if you open your children up to everything, your children, you treat your children just like a revolving door. You know, anybody you let in your bed, you let in your kids' life, then what are you really opening your children up to? You know, you start seeing different tendencies, start seeing, you know, behaviors coming out of nowhere, attitudes coming out of nowhere. You know, you have to be careful. Real
And
careful.
I 1000% agree with that. Now, to add to that, as a single parent, you can still have a mm, a relationship, or a life outside of having, being a parent. There's Shanae at home, Mama Shanae, and then when I leave home, there's Shanae where, oh, I'm the fun, the cool, can hang, have this life. And you can separate the two. And that's what as women, we need to learn, that there's you as a mother, and then there's you as a person in dealing with other adults as well. And it's hard for a lot of people to separate the two. Now, I've dated people while my kids they just didn't know about
Right.
it. And it's okay with that. I was okay with that. They were okay with that, because at the end of the day, I knew that 9 times out of 10, like you said, they weren't going to be someone that was there that was going to make it to the finish line and we end up together forever. But I could still enjoy their time and their company and all of that without having to expose them to my kids, and my kids could possibly grow an attachment to them, and then all of a
Right.
sudden they're ripped away from them.
Right.
No, you don't want to do that. And also, with parents with girls, what kind of, you're setting an example if you land up with Tom, Dick, and Harry, all these different men, and your daughter seeing that, you know they mimic the behaviors that they see. So
Yes.
how are you going to tell your daughter, no, you can't be laying up with this boy and that boy and this, that, and other? Well, mama, that's what you doing.
Uh-huh.
And what can you
Right.
say? Yeah, it's gonna hurt your feelings, and yeah, you want to probably knock her out or whatever. But no, at the end of the day, she's only doing what she saw, and it's
Yeah.
learned behavior. So, with that being said, I didn't want that, because I had a male child and I had a girl child. And for my son, I didn't want him to have that image of his mother.
Yes. 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 Yes.
And it's a catch 22 to that, because now, your son sees you as this good saint, Virgin Mary type, now, because it's like, no, they get you a puppy, get you a cat. I don't want to be the cat lady. And
Right.
so, you have you have that situation. It's a good and a bad, but I feel like my son has that respect for me to feel like I don't want you just settling with a loser, or he looking at me like I don't know who my mama gonna run home with next and have laid up in here or whatever. And I just never done that. I mean, this is my household. I don't judge anybody that's done it. I mean, that's your life. But for me, that was what I wanted to do for my children, because I never wanted them to have that thought of me of being that type of woman, because once they grow up, they figure, they kind
Oh,
of
they
start,
do.
yeah,
Oh,
and
they
figuring
do.
things out, and looking at me and like, oh, mama about that life, ain't she? Just like, oh, she out here. No, I just didn't want that. I mean, putting on the front, but my life is my life. Like, they're grown now. I don't want to know what they do. This is too much. When it comes to stuff like that, keep that over there, and I'll keep my stuff over here. So that's, I don't know. That's, I guess, where I guess a lot of parents are different, but I really feel like if you have young children or young girls, try to keep all those men, all the suitors. If they not here to stay, you better meet up with them in the streets or wherever you got to do it, and then come home and be done with it. Because nowadays it's too many
Too
people
risky.
harming young children. It's not even yeah, it's not even girls anymore. It could be the boy, the male child.
Yeah,
You don't know
because
who's looking
it's
at.
women that's out there. It's women pedophiles too. Women child molesters too.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
yeah, and you don't know who anybody can look at anybody and be sizing your kid up, and you thinking they looking at you, but really they looking over your shoulder, looking at your
That's your
child, and you
child.
think, oh,
Yes.
he or she love us so much now. Be careful because once that's done, you can't. It's nothing you can do to get that back for them because it messes up so many kids, men or women, at a young age. For me, for young boys, they'll be like, "Oh, I was touched," and they supposed to be alone from that. They just like females. They hurt the same way that anybody hurts if they
Right.
have something to them that they don't want done to them, and
Right.
it's hard for them to express that because they've been taught that, oh, if an older woman get on you, oh yeah, boy, that's good.
Yeah, we
No,
glamorize that.
yeah,
Yeah, we
I mean,
glamorize it.
now who won't at 10 or 11 want some 30 or 40-year-old woman sagging up on you? I mean, it's like,
Not sagging.
well, I'm just saying, I ain't trying to say they sagging like but just, I mean, here are my children in their 20s and they call me old. I'm in my 40s. So imagine you 10 or 11 got somebody approaching you like that. I mean, I can understand why they grossed out. That's too much for them. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, and then the thing about it too, it's crazy that you talk about, not just your daughter, the way that, you know, how she will perceive the lifestyle that you presented before her with your son also. And that was my thing too, you know. Now, you know, if I was gonna be tooling around, my son wasn't gonna be calling me a tool. You know what I'm saying? That
Yeah.
my son wasn't gonna be able to say it because I was gonna keep my private matters private, regardless of whatever was going on. You know, I tried to keep it, you know, just try to keep my kids out of it because they do develop relationships with people, they develop bonds with people, and the thing about it is kids are innocent. You know what I'm saying? In their innocence they love freely, they trust blindly, and it's like when you violate that, it's hard to really it's hard for a child to bounce back from that. Now, just as hard as it is for me as an adult, you know what I'm saying? I um if I encounter some type of trauma of some kind, emotional trauma, it's hard. And I'm an adult. I know that there are threats out there. Things are threats. People are deceptive. People can be, live double lives. People can do things. People can be malicious, whatever, and they can do things to harm you emotionally. I'm aware of that. But just a child who's loved without condition, who has loved without restriction, just because of their innocence, I just imagine how much harder that is for them to bounce back from. And I just did not want to put my children through that. I did have some people in my life that, yeah, they, but it's very few people that can say, oh yeah, I was around, our kids, her kids, we was like in that presence, you know like in a close-knit relationship. It's not many people that can say that. But you are very accurate in saying that, you know, how the kids, hey, they grow up, they realize what's going on. And one thing about it is like with all of our kids, you know, as they've gotten older, it's like some things they'll come back. Things will come back and they'll say stuff and they'll let you know what they picked up on. You know, we have sons and daughters. And it's some things, you know, that the older ones they've commented on, and it's like, ouch, you know, don't be like this. You know, you hear son telling your daughter, don't do this and don't be like that. Your daughter telling your son, don't be this, don't be that. You know, like this parent or that parent, or like this auntie, this uncle, or whatever. You know, you hear things, and it's like, whoa, and it can be hurtful. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing about kids, they're gonna tell the ugly truth. And they don't
Yeah.
they don't really feel any shame about it, you know, because it's a part of that innocence. And then, you know, we have children of this millennial age. Baby, these millennials is something else.
Mm.
They're something else. You know, I'm just like, wow. They're not like what well, I guess I'm a Gen Xer. They ain't like us.
No.
They don't just sit back and take it and whatever else. No, they're very vocal and they're very you know, very honest. And I can appreciate that, you know, to an extent because it lets you know that no, everything is not okay, it's not acceptable. And it really gives you that reality check that, hey, no, as the adult in my life, you're supposed to have my best interest at heart. And right now, you all over the place, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
I didn't want my son to be like, Mama, you know, my mama was fat. You know what I'm saying?
exactly.
I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? I have grandkids, they be like, listen, don't be like granny, you know what I'm saying? Nah, don't, when you get you a woman, don't get no woman like your granny, man. Your granny, nah, I don't, you know, I know, like, no, I just, no, you know, or I wanted to give my son, you know, like I wanted to show him a woman of integrity. You know, even if I don't care, even if I was out there, you know what I'm saying? I'm with Sally, Tommy, Robbie, and you know, Mary and Johnny tonight outside the house, but I ain't gonna be with them in the house with the kids. You know what I'm saying? If that were the case, I still didn't want I just wouldn't want my children to see that and think, okay, that's what's up. And then they follow in those footsteps. You know what I'm saying? And then here I am, I'm somebody grandmama like, who is this you bringing home? You know, this ain't the same chick from yesterday. And not, you know, that you're going to be bringing any and everybody to the house and it's all good and what, no. I mean, dating is cool, but now, no. You know, I didn't want to set that example for my children that's okay, that's the way it's supposed to be. Because like no, you baby, you go out there and pick up some trash, bring it home. You got something, you know what I'm saying, you can't get rid of.
and then too, you got to think about it. And you said something. Our sons tend to go out and find women that are similar
Yes,
to their mothers.
yes,
And you know, they may not have all the qualities, and of course, they don't have it all together. They're young. They may see certain qualities in a woman that's my mama. You know, they got to still learn the ugly truths of about people. People wear masks, of course, but the thing is that what you present to your son is the portrait. Either this is what it's gonna be. If it's a good thing, they can go out there and try to mimic that portrait, or that if it was a bad thing that they remember, they can go try to create something totally different, because guess what? They don't want all of that stuff going on with them, because the thing
Right.
is that I've seen women, and like I said, hey, you live your life the way you are, but they bring men around their kids and they see them being mistreated, and they putting the man before their kids, and they're doing all these different things, and your kids will look back on that, and either they're gonna say, I'll never make those same mistakes, or they're gonna go try to find someone different from that. Or
Right.
then there's the terrible situation, they go find the exact same thing that they see, or worse. And you don't want that. You don't, and then you wondering why your kid is going through so much turmoil in their relationships, and they making bad mistakes, in relationships and stuff. They only got what they have in front of them. They only have
Right.
what you laid out for them. So either they can, some people are able to learn from it. Some people only know how to mimic it. They don't know how to
Right.
change up the game. They don't know how to do anything. And it's unfortunate for those, because you look at those kids and and you'll think they never stood a chance,
Yeah. And
because
it's
they
sad.
weren't given the tools or the resources, number one, to be great and go out here and try to find someone that will complement their life. They only know, well, all I know is old Jody, and he can go upside my head, and I just say it's okay, and we just forget about it and go on to the next day or whatever. And you don't want that. You don't
Um,
want your kid to, if you had a situation, if you were in a bad situation, you definitely wouldn't want that for your kids. So if you can save that, and a lot of times women don't know that they're gonna end up in these situations, and they get out of them. But for the ones that stay in it, or they thrive on that type of drama, because there's women that actually thrive.
yes.
They're not they're not happy unless they got somebody going upside their head, or they not.
And there are some women that are the aggressors in those type of
Yeah,
situations, and there are men that are victim to that. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Um,
They It's almost like, I won't say a sickness, but it's like a need.
there's
They
a
don't
there's
feel,
a unhealthy codependency in those relationships.
yeah.
Yeah,
And you
been there,
don't want,
done that.
no, hey, I've been around people, and I dated a guy that he wasn't happy unless I was mad at him. Like, it was like if I was lashing out or something like that, that made him feel, because then it was like he was happy. I don't know what kind of lifestyle or his mother
Wow.
raised. But me being chill and calm, he would just keep picking at me. And, I'm in my 20s and or whatever. I got kids. Look, I don't have time to be dealing with you and your shenanigans. And then you sitting up here picking at me. Well, I'm gonna give you what you're looking for. I just go ahead and bite your head off. Then he just be as excited. And it's like, dude, who wants to get
Right.
talked to like this? Like, who likes this? And because I don't. And I was like, the thing is that some people, if they've been raised around it, and that's the only form of love that they've gotten, or validation, they crave that. They need it. It's almost like a drug, because regular treatment, if I'm just, oh, okay, such and such, let's just go on and be great. They don't take that away. I don't want it. It's too good. That you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Give me this bad treat. And so,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, uh,
But you know what?
I
I
don't know.
I have dealt with that. I've been on both ends of that. You know what I'm saying? Like in my first marriage, there was domestic violence, and like when I came out of that relationship, I really did not know how to take somebody just being a gentleman, somebody just being, whatever. And so it was like I was in that mode where I had to always find a problem, you know what I'm saying? Because it just, I don't know, I guess when you grow accustomed to living with dysfunction, when you grow accustomed to it, it's like it becomes a part of you. It's like so deeply rooted, on the inside. And like you don't know how to receive true affection, true love. You don't, you know. If you've been in a cycle like that for so long, and then too, it just depends on your upbringing. I would say I had a very good upbringing. My parents were good to us. It wasn't without problems, but there's some dynamics, I would even say, of my parents' relationship that, some things that I saw, uh, and like my parents, they didn't have no domestic violence. They didn't have that type of, they weren't, physically abusive to one another. They weren't verbally abusive to one another, in a sense that, to my knowledge, let me say to my knowledge, because my parents didn't do a bunch of arguing and fussing and fighting and stuff like that. They didn't do that in front of us. So if they had something like that going on behind closed doors, then that's something that we never seen or something I never experienced. So I don't know, but there were some aspects of the relationship that I did see that kind of, some things that were not quite right. And because that's what I saw, that's what I thought was okay. And it's like, because I saw certain things, then I felt like, okay, well, it's cool. I didn't know that, okay, no, it's not supposed to be like that. Well, no, you don't have to be this way or that way. It can be much different than this. It can be much better than that, when even when I got into my marriage, it's like some things I had to learn how to, like, I don't know how to receive this, and it just felt so awkward. But, and it's not that anything bad was going on. It's just like, when you lived in turmoil for so long, and then when you get peace, it almost feel like what's wrong? Something is not wrong. It, like when you're used to living in an environment that's full of stress, full of tension, and that's what you know. When you're in a place where that's not a part of you, and you felt all this time that that's normal, then it's like, okay, you feel so out of place, so awkward that, that dysfunction has become such a great part of you that you don't even know that abnormality that you've been living with is abnormal. You don't even know. You don't know.
Yeah.
So then you end up in situations where you're perpetuating or you're creating an environment that will perpetuate that feeling of discomfort, that feeling of, that crazy feeling that should not be, but it's familiar,
Yeah.
and that's a dangerous cycle. That's a very dangerous cycle. I had to, there's some things about myself I had to really discover, or that I discovered along the way, that it's like, nah, life don't have to be like this. You don't have to be like that. Why are you, it's like living in turmoil for so long made me very, like, ready for the jump off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it could be somebody, I'm saying, trying to love me, and I'm just like, I'm just, nah. I don't even want you to get, I don't want you to get close enough to me, so let me go on and tear you down before you can even, get ready to, no, I'm going to do you in before you have a chance to do something harmful to me. And it would be like killing off the potential for, something good possibly. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, and that was definitely in my single days, where I was really like that a lot, but I don't know. It's I don't
We
know.
have to we have to live and learn because just like you said, different aspects of your parents' marriage and stuff, because we see it and we grow up and we don't know any better. And because there's things that, I can honestly say, because my parents, they're both strong, both of them. I mean, you know, they are very strong. So when you take two strong people and put them together in a room, it's gonna be some arguments or whatever. But for me, I don't like to argue. I won't argue because I don't like a lot of yelling
Well,
and no.
I don't like it, but I listen. I can go. Which I'll be like, Lord help me. I don't want to be that woman no more. But
Yeah,
I
and
can give it out.
I now I've done it with people before, but it takes so much out of you, and it's like, what are we solving at this point? With who can laugh, who can insult somebody the
Right,
most, and who can get the
right.
laugh, who can clap 1,000 times, who can storm off? I'm just like, at the end of the day, you never really solved anything. And so I don't, I saw that and I was like, nah, I'm good on this. Now, trust me, I have argued or whatever and done it. But then also, too, another aspect, which is bad for me, I grew up with the misconceived notion that because my dad always made everything happen and we were spoiled. I admit to this day at 42, I'm spoiled now. I can pick up that phone and be like, Daddy, I don't want to be grown no more. And then just, he gonna make something happen or whatever. But when you fast forward into your real life of realize, oh, wait a minute. Ain't nobody to spoil me like this? What? Did they not? Let me get my daddy on
Let
the phone.
me
Let me
call
get
my
y'all talk.
daddy.
Yeah. And y'all need to talk to him. Y'all not following the code that I have lived by for so long. And it's so hard. That was something for me growing up because I felt like the surroundings, even just other families where I'm from, all men raised their kids. That was something I thought misconceived. This is my naive behind thinking because I see everybody's parents around and all that. Even if they got divorced, they still coming to do whatever. I grew up around it, so I'm thinking, oh, nobody don't is not gonna not take care of their kids because it wasn't something that I saw on a regular. So fast forward, I have my kids and find out he was like, no, I ain't gonna be able to do this. I'm
Oh
out.
man.
And I'm like, is this a joke? Like, are you serious right now? I mean, come on now. It was funny the first time. Let's rewind. Let's do this again. And that was one of the things that I can say. We learn so much from our parents, but some of the things that we learn are good and bad. And I say it was good for me to be able to see the good things that they done, but it also kind of screwed me a little bit because it had me being a little bit naive to the fact, like, let me get out this little dream world that I'm in. Let me get in the real world with everybody else because I need to be able to understand that I'm not gonna be spoiled when I want to. I'm not gonna get everything that I want. And newsflash, all men don't take care of their kids, but the ones that do, I applaud them. I don't have any male bashing type of tendencies, even with everything. That's an individual person.
Right.
Each situation. He just had a bad run. Hope he get his life together. Good luck to you. I'm just over that. I learned a lot, and I think when we say this, when we're pouring into our kids, we need to make sure that we pouring all the right things that we can, as much as we can, because we're gonna make mistakes, but all the good things, so that when they go out into the world, they can pour that into theirs, and that
Right.
cycle can go on. Because it's so many kids out here, and I hate to say it, you look at them and they never stood a chance. Never. They
Yeah.
never stood a chance. And so if I could say that, of course, we don't live in a perfect world. If you could take anything that I ever say, if you can do that, please do that. So, what you looking at?
Girl, it's a hot chocolate done walked in the room. Mr. Butler just got home. Okay.
I Reverend C.L. Butler. You heard?
Yeah, he just came in the door. So he was just walking past. So, I had to, yeah.
Let's just pause for a second. So, Wednesday. No, I have to say this, and you can tell him. We have to talk about the other stuff off camera, but I told you I had met someone and was talking to them. Well, I had y'all on one device listening when I got home Wednesday, and I had the other person on my phone. Well, he heard you talking, so he was like, because he kept getting quiet or whatever. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm listening to my friend. She's having Bible study right now. So it's like, oh, okay, no problem, no problem. Well, Smooth Operator got on there. That's CL Bubba with that smooth voice. My phone I'm in mid-conversation, like mid-sentence. He stopped talking. So he could just hear, because he could hear your husband. He was listening to your friend. I said, I am. He was like, well, who's that guy? I said, husband. I said, oh, Smooth Operator, about to get me in trouble over here.
I'm saying, I'll be telling, I'll be like, baby, listen, you can't be coming on the line with that 976 voice on. You got to come on. You can't, you know what I'm saying?
I was like, the chain
Yes, honey. I'll be telling them all the time, listen, honey, you got this 976 going on. Call me with your 976 later. But when we need to talk about this business, come on, talk to me in your business voice. Don't be talking to me in there. Hey, how you doing? I'm saying with that small down the line.
No, because when he talks, especially when he's, delivering the word or whatever, it's so calming. His voice is amazing for it. I'm just going to be honest. But I guess another man got him, hey,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He recognized that 976. Hold up, who is that you over there? Who is that over there sounding like Billy D?
I was like, now look, I was like, oh, that's her husband. I said, he's the pastor. And I was like, and so she
God.
Oh. And he was like, oh, I said, don't be getting jealous. I said, hey, he trying to talk to him. And I said, and you over here worried about thinking somebody over here, or I got him in the background. I was like, crazy. I said,
Gosh.
Tell
Yes,
him.
honey. There was Smooth Operator 976 on the line. I'm walking through the door.
You hear on CL. You hear it. No, I love it. I love it.
Oh, God. Yes.
I love y'all's relationship.
Girl, we have some craziness going on.
And I'm
very
down
crazy dynamic in our relationship, but it's good. It worked for us. So it might not work for everybody, but listen, what we got going on work for us.
It's a good one to mimic, something you look forward to trying to find.
Yeah,
how making it work.
But it took some stuff. I'm talking about them F still going.
I'm not.
Took some stuff. Yes.
I'm not doing this with you.
Girl, listen, them F's go all the way from Garland to Louisville. Did you hear me?
Yeah, and I'm gonna just flip them and send them back over there to you and bring them
that
back.
Much stuff.
Much stuff. But hey, anything good that we gain is never easy. You know that, right?
Now you're right about that. You're right about that. Anything that, cause like, let me see. I had a lot of stuff that I didn't have to work hard for, and I can honestly say, much of it, if it didn't cost me nothing, I don't have nothing to show for it. I don't have no evidence of it. You know what I'm saying? If it didn't cost me something, You know, even like I can say, even the things that I can say I've been fortunate enough to be blessed to experience on this journey, they still cost something. They still cost something. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nothing
That's
free.
tough.
Nothing is
Ain't
free. Nothing is
not
free.
this air we breathing. They charging us right now
I'm
for
trying
this
to
at the end
tell
of the
you.
year.
Yes,
But
Lord.
you know when they say that ain't nothing in life free, they say it and we just roll our eyes. But it's honestly the God's truth that if somebody gives you something, you're not gonna ever appreciate it. It's like basically I'm going out to the dumpster here at at my apartments and go dig something out and try to bring it over there. Here, look at this trash. No, I don't want that trash. But if I had to go work for something, or you had to go work for something to obtain it, you're gonna actually appreciate it, and
Right.
you're gonna really want to keep that. And people don't realize that we try to give, even in relationships, we try to give people so much of ourselves, and if they don't accept it, we give more. We want to do more. We want to do all of this. No, they don't want it. It's too easy. You gotta make them work for it. You gotta make them earn that, because if you honestly try to give somebody you as the prize and they didn't have to work for it,
They don't care nothing about no prize. It ain't no
they gonna throw you
prize.
in the dump that same dump. Yeah, they gonna
Yeah.
throw you in that same dumpster that I went and got that other stuff from, because it's not, it means nothing to them. But the one that they being turned down, treated like, like crap or whatever, they working hard to obtain it because it's worth something. It has to be worth something because they having to work hard for it. And I've learned that. And honestly, if a lot of people would think about that, it would save them a lot of heartache and pain in the long run. It
Right.
would, even in relationships, friendships, families, whatever, even in jobs, just learn that you can't give anybody anything. You have to earn it. They have to earn it. It is what it is. So,
This is true. That's true.
yes, ma'am.
That's so true. Um, I was thinking about something. You know me, girl, I be all over the place in a conversation, but I was just thinking about how like we was just talking about the relationships and how you see that image before you. You know, you was talking about how your parents and stuff, you know, you had this misconception, you know, that oh well, all dads, all fathers take care of their children, you know. Like when I got to the point to where like, okay, this marriage, like, well, no, divorce is not what that is. You know, like my grandparents, they had been married for 66 years. You know, my parents have been married since I was 4. My parents are still married to this day. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, what? That was hard. That was hard to come to grips with. Like even like trying to just like, okay, I know that this is not healthy, but like we don't do this. You know, I can think of like, you know, mm, I like the examples that were before me, I just couldn't even wrap my mind around it. You know, and I struggled with it for probably at least like the last 2 years of the marriage. You know what I'm saying? Like I struggled with it. No, well, 3 years. You know what I'm saying? 3 out of 7 years, I was struggling with the fact that okay, do I stay or do I go? Do I leave? Do I stay? It's gonna get better or it's gonna get worse. At what point do you say enough is enough? I struggled so hard because like, no, this is not what we do. You know, even my parents, they had a point, even in their marriage where, hey, they separated, you know, they were not sure, but I was like, well, hey, they stuck it out. Well, you're supposed to stick it out. And then I was like, but no, you don't. Just if it ain't working, be done, or I just didn't know what to do, you know, and a lot of it was like, okay, well, no, because this not what mama and daddy did. This not what mother and daddy did. This not, you know. Then I think that like I was looking at both of my grandparents, you know, I think one set of grandparents, they did eventually part ways with one another after a while, but it was like at that point it was like, come on, like for real? Like, no, this one's supposed to, this is what my marriage is gonna be reduced to. But
Yeah.
on the contrary, mm, yeah,
Yeah.
girl. On the contrary, hey,
And just to follow up with that, my parents divorced. Like they were together 25, how many other years, married, but they had been together since they were 14 years old before they got married. So for me, I think it kind of made me shy away from marriage a little for a while because I don't want to get divorced. Like I only want to do it once, and when I do it, I mean I'm serious about that. I want it to be till death do us part, and I don't want to have to get a divorce or whatever. And I'm pretty sure it was hard for them because my dad's Catholic. They don't believe in divorce or whatever. But like my mom said, she Methodist. They do, and so she was like, okay, yeah, only my mama. And so they were able to divorce or whatever and be fine. But and I think it would, I say this, I don't want divorce in my life, but I honestly will say this, I wouldn't stay anywhere where I wasn't wanted or it wasn't a stable, safe place. Now I do understand that part, but I'm hoping that I can meet someone that's my forever partner where I can stay with them and everything's gonna be okay. And so before I do it, I gotta make 1000% sure that we are gonna actually make it because I don't want to get divorced. But on the flip side, I'm not gonna stay around for no tomfoolery neither. I'm out. I'm just gonna be honest. I can't do that. And I won't do that to myself because I feel like I'm worth more than that. And of course, it's gonna be hard. It will. It's gonna be many a nights that you would have to probably think about that. But I feel like it's better to leave than stay. And now I'm kind of glad that my kids are grown. So it's kind of like I wouldn't have to put them through that if I
right,
did it. It's just me and my brokenheartedness. So
yeah,
I got to get there first. But that's just my thoughts on it. How certain situations affect you and you don't even realize it. That would be my thing. I just don't want to get divorced because
yeah.
I saw all my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, they together. You know, only way that they got out was death. Their husband died. That was it, and they never got remarried again.
Hmm.
None of
Wow.
them. I don't know about all of that, but but I guess the loyalty I guess they had to their spouse, I guess they felt like they weren't gonna find that love again, so they never got remarried. I can't say that in a different generation. I might find me two husbands.
Now, do you
I,
think it's the loyalty of the relationship, or like, hey, you know what? That was hard work. Ain't nobody got time for that. I'll just be easy, be single by myself because marriage is work. You know what I'm saying? People see the wedding and the celebratory part, and they don't realize that there's some work that comes after the festivities, and it's like nonstop work. So like you looking at this part that everybody glamorizes. You're looking at this part that everybody really boosts and promotes. and all of this other stuff, but nobody talks about uh, the difficulties of maintaining a harmonious and a healthy marriage. You know what I'm saying? Because there are issues. Um, there's things, there's some realities that sometimes you don't even factor in when you're on your way, when you're getting to the, before you get to the I do, you know what I'm saying? Just walking down the aisle, getting to the marriage, some things you don't consider. Hey, what if this? What if that? What if this? Some things can transpire over the course of a marriage that you never in your wildest dreams would have imagined. We hear stories about, the horrible in-laws and this and that and the other, but sometimes it's like it's some stuff that's more deep, that's way deeper than that people don't talk about. People don't talk about, okay, well, I'm in this relationship and I'm not alone, but I'm still lonely. How do you deal with that kind of stuff? Because I think that every marriage, probably, if people are really honest, I think a lot more people have problems like that than they really acknowledge. Well, hey, we're not connecting right here. We were connected, but something happened and now we're not connected anymore. So it's like he over here and I'm over here and it's so much distance, and I want to close the gap, but I don't feel like he wants to close the gap, or hey, I want to close the gap, but I don't feel like she wants to. And nobody realizes, how did we get here? What happened? There's places where burnout does exist. You get burned out sometime with, being in your, operating in a capacity that you do, but people don't talk about those moments. Sometimes there's, communication barriers in the middle, and people, it's easier. We're in a place where it's so much easier to say, oh, I'm done, and write it off, than to work through the difficulties. And so because those difficulties, people don't talk about that. They just talk about the wedding. People don't talk about the things that really, the hard parts that really make a marriage, that make or break a marriage. People really only want to talk about, oh, it's either money issues, fidelity issues. I'm saying those are really the money issues, fidelity issues, abuse issues. Those are really the main three things that really get hot, marital issues that get highly publicized to me. And it's like, there's so much other stuff between that. So many other small things. And I guess my question was, like you mentioned, your aunties and stuff like that in your family, that, hey, maybe it's because of the loyalty and the love that they had and whatever, they just didn't think they could find that again, that they never remarried. Or do you think it would be, hey, if you had a conversation with them, do you think that it would be because of that? Or because, hey, you know what, that was a lot of work. I don't have it in me to do that again.
And I'll never, now that we have this question for us, I'll never be able to ask them. They're no longer with us. But
oh man,
I know that would, but you know what? I never thought about that. And that's actually a really good question, because, like you said, they do glamorize the wedding and all the fun part. But at the end of the day, a lot of people do not think past that part.
So don't.
They think oh, I'm getting married. But, the question that I've asked, why do you want to get married? I've asked people that, and for some people, I've never gotten a clear answer that made sense to me. They never gave me one that I'm like, okay, I can see that. Because I want to know why people want to get married, because honestly, I want to get married. I want a lifetime partner. I want that person that knows me like no other and can see, and when I go do something crazy, they looking and shaking their head and laughing because they know it's me. And someone that can be who understands me to the point that I sometimes don't even have to say anything. They know me that well. And if there's a type of situation that's going on where it could be where you can either fight or you can move on, he wants to fight just as hard as I do. And until I find that, I'm just not gonna run out here so I could just I'm married. Look, y'all, I'm married. Here go my ring, and I'm posting on social media looking happy, but I'm at home about to shoot myself because let me not say that. I'm about to probably cry my eyeballs out because I'm so unhappy.
But the
You
thing
know what I'm
about it is, you're saying you're not going to say that, but there are so many people right now that are dealing with that. Um, I just got wind of a situation today where a wife shot a husband. You know what I'm saying, and the mother was like dealing with that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's people that are really in situations like that. And, yes, it's a touchy subject. It is by all means, but we're in a time right now where I think that it's more important now than it has ever been that people know that if you are not okay, it is okay to say that you're not okay. It's best if you say you're not okay. But we're living in this time where we see, we're in this season of hashtag relationship goals, and everything is glamorized to the point that people feel like, oh, well, I can't say that there's something wrong. No, if it is something wrong, find a safe space. So you don't have to take actions that will be detrimental to your life or somebody else's. If you feel like you have made a wrong turn, find a safe space. Reach out to somebody. Don't take your life. Don't take the life of your spouse. Don't take your children's life. I mean, like, there was a situation I got wind of a couple of weeks ago where a mother shot her 9-year-old, and a 12-year-old son just barely escaped. Like, no, like, these type of occurrences are happening far too much. And I can say from my own personal experience, I had to put, okay, what I'm dealing with in this moment on the scale versus if I get out of it, if I stay in it, how does the damage of the potential outcome outweigh me choosing to be cautious? I'm gonna choose to err on the side of caution and just say, let me just get out for the sake of everybody's safety and well-being. Which one outweighs the other? And my thing was, I did not want the potential outcome of, at its worst, staying in an unsafe situation. And I'm not saying that to say this person's the bad guy, this person. No, I'm saying, hey, this is just not healthy, period. Nobody is the victim. Nobody is the victimizer. No, it's just not safe. Did I just make a word? Is it victimizer? Is that a word?
Hey,
Well, listen, y'all know what I'm trying to say. Nobody is a perpetrator. Nobody is a victim. It's just unhealthy. You know what I'm saying? And the thing about it is, like, I literally thought about every potential situation. Okay. I thought about, okay, if I stay in this marriage and he does something that's harmful to me, and the children have to live with it, and I'm dead and gone, do I want my children to have to live with that story? If something happens and I take his life, do I want my children to have to live with that aftermath? Do I want his parents, his siblings, his aunties, uncles, grandparents, do I want them to have to live with that? Do I want my children to have to tell that story to my grandkids? Would that do more damage than, you know, what if something happens and the next altercation?
I'm finishing up a video call right now.
Yeah, but see where things weigh. See what outweighs the other. You know what I'm saying? Does making a decision to be safe, even if that means walking away, what is the story that you want to leave behind? Who's going to be left to tell the story? Consider that. Don't stay in a situation because you feel obligated because there's kids. You don't have to take your life. You don't have to take somebody else's. Get some help. Reach out to anybody that you think can be a safe space. I'm saying nobody knows you need help if you don't cry out. And that's the thing I would say. You know, it's too many sad stories going on right now.
Right. And also, I would like to, maybe we can go into it next week.
Yeah.
Because the mental health part of it. Because so many people are suffering, and unfortunately, they don't know, you know, that they're going through this because, you know, they haven't went to the doctor or done anything, or their family members don't know, or they're ignoring the signs that's going on. And I know for our community, the Black community, we don't want to accept mental illness for what it is. We rather say, oh, Uncle Pete, he's just weird. Let's lock him in the closet and then just, you know, feed him and be done. Where it's okay, because it's not saying anything is wrong with them or anything wrong with anyone in your family. It's accepting and getting them the help that they need, because I really think, you know, and I could be wrong, there are malicious people out there, but when you are able to take your life and your kids' lives and you feel like you have nothing else to lose, this is the best solution for your problem, there's some mental, I feel like, instability there. And you need someone to talk to. It's nothing wrong with people seeking help, having a counselor, a therapist, or whatever, a spiritual advisor. It's nothing wrong with it. But we have been taught, and this is another thing we can talk about, what happens in our house stays in our house.
Yes.
I think it's been taken out of context.
Very much so.
And unfortunately, I think it's been taken out so much that this is what's happening. Nobody knows that these people are suffering and going on because you don't want to tell the business. You don't want to let people know what's going on in your house. And then you're at your breaking point and you have no one to talk to. Well, you need to find somebody. If you don't want to talk to your friends for fear of judgment or your family, there are people, they have hotlines. You can just pick up an 800 number and call. Do what you got to do. I wouldn't judge, and no one would even know. You don't even have to tell anybody, but get that, vent that frustration, get that help that you need, because sometimes these situations could possibly be avoidable.
Yeah.
Because they just need someone to talk them down off the ledge.
Yes.
I really believe that.
Absolutely.
So that may be something that we can dive into maybe next week.
Sounds good.
Next time.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, we can definitely do that.
All right. Well,
I
Well,
think we
guys.
have, huh?
I said, well, guys, until next time.
I know we have given y'all a good hour of tea and conversation and crumpets and biscuits and whatever else y'all in partaking in. We're gonna do this again next time, same place.
Sounds good. Peace.